Hello viewers, well, welcome to my weekly blog. Another week, another blog, catching up on everything that's been happening over the past week. Still been quite quiet on the channel. I've had stacks of PC problems to fix this week, which delayed me all again. So all the stuff from last week is still coming, and there'll be some more stuff coming on the channel as well. And this week is 60 frames per second week. So I normally film my stuff in roughly 30 to 60 anyway, depending. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a good thing that we're going to get 60 frames on YouTube. It's a bad thing that it's probably going to mean massive file sizes and lots more processing, and I don't know what impact that will be in putting out videos. But either way, it'll be nice to actually show some of these games running at 60 frames per second, and I'll show you some bits while I'm rambling on about it. For me, I've always been a framist person. I've always wanted 60 frames. Even years ago, you go to the arcade, you enjoy 60 frames, you come home, you get 30 frames and shoddy graphics. And it's always been used somewhat as an excuse. People say they can't tell the difference. I mean, for me, I can tell a huge difference between 60 and 30 frames. And you'll be seeing a lot of comparisons, no doubt, from everybody on YouTube now, just showing the difference. Just how much smoother and more polished everything looks when it runs at that extra smooth frame rate. And that's really a difference that the PC gaming gives you. Often consoles over the past few years have still been running at 30 frames, and then you see it running at 60 on the PC. It just feels like a different game. It feels so much more polished, and it will make a huge difference to some of the visual presentations. So a lot of the camera footage that you see now will be filmed at 50 or 60 frames per second, and I'll be putting that up on the channel. And this is the first video that's running at 60 frames on the channel, so you get to see me in my full frame rate as well, which is pretty cool. There you go. So lots of 60 frames per second videos coming up on the channel, and I'll be looking at all the different racing games and showing those off as well. Just a couple of words on the website. We've got the Forza Horizon 2 review is up now. James Allen's put that together for us. Also, there's an article that Martin found of some ride footage, the new Milestone game due next year. I'll be talking about that in another video, what we've seen of the game there. Suffice to say, normally when you see a new game, you see a polished trailer. In this instance, it's a chap having an interview with his mind on other things while he's playing a bike game. It's not always the best way to showcase your in-development game to the world, but this is the way they've chosen to do it. Apparently, there is a trailer coming up this week, so do keep your eyes open, and I do look forward to a hands-on at some point. We also had the Crew Beta giveaway a little while ago. I'll be finding out if we're giving away some codes. The codes will be given to people who are regular posters on VVV. I mean, last time we gave them just to people on the day, and we had loads of people post, but then nobody ever came back again. And the whole point for us is to get these codes, we need to prove that we have regular people comment, get involved in what we do, and so those regular commenters can look forward to a Crew Beta code, hopefully all going well this week. Now, elsewhere, another video I forgot to mention last week coming up is a video I did where I won a helmet, which is just here, signed by Nico Rosberg, and he signed that for me. And I won this in a competition, Monaco F1 racing competition as well recently. So a video of the Sportel show where I won that will be up on the channel in the coming days. Probably not at 60 frames. Some of this wasn't filmed at that, but hey, it's all coming. Not everything will be at 60 frames, I'll point out on the channel. It's going to be a bit of a crossover period. There's a lot of stuff where it's much easier for me to just knock it out at 30 frames sometimes, but there will be 60 frames, of course. People asking me about F1 2015. Codemasters, I think, said on a blog a while ago they were going to announce something soon after F1 2014. I don't think you'll see the logo this side of the F1 2014 season, so they can't show that. It might be that they can't show any until early in the new year, but obviously if they were going to show something, it wouldn't be F1 2015 footage because we don't know what the cars look like, so it would probably be some classic material. So that's the answer, the only answer I have on that one at the moment. Looking forward to seeing the new graphics engine, of course. Just a small mention, and we'll be talking about this more, we're currently running his promotion with Domestic Mango. Domestic Mango is another YouTuber, and he's launching his page on the Team VVV website, and we're going to be putting together pages for selected YouTubers who run racing games material. They don't have their own website, and we're actually giving them a whole section of the VVV website. So if you're a YouTuber, you've got lots of videos, you've got lots of views, we'll probably be talking to you very soon about that kind of thing. Really building a way to bring the YouTube community together. But I'm not going to go into too much detail now. More on that to follow on a future blog. But just to finish now, a little bit of Formula One news. Obviously, we have Circuit of the Americas today, Austin Grand Prix. It's under a cloud, isn't it? We've had, obviously, 2 teams going to administration. People are disappointed, possibly losing their jobs. The teams are complaining, the independent teams, that the money's not well distributed. It's clear that it's not. And you had Bernie yesterday saying, about people handing out, people asking for begging bowls. Well, it's not really a begging bowl. There's a bowl of cash that's given to Mercedes, and there's an empty bowl given to one of the teams at the back. And it's like, well, where's the equality in that? You've got Toto at the front saying, this is a promotional tool for Mercedes. It's nothing more. Okay, so why don't we just have an equal ground then? There's not. There's promotional tool and there's sport, and these two things aren't meeting in the middle. They all say they want to be in a competitive sport, but they don't all want to start on the same level financially. So there's not equal opportunity for all the teams involved. And until they address that and put it together, sport's never going to improve. Sport is always the loser. And I think right now you've got less teams, less cars, possibly less teams and cars even next season. And you watch a qualifying session and you've got Mercedes versus Mercedes at the front, and there's really no one else who's ever going to get mixed up in that battle. It really is just between those two, and it's taken the fight out of it. There's always excitement in qualifying when you think any of these top 5 guys, 6 guys might be able to get pole position. Now it's Nico and Lewis. Nico's got a problem, Lewis gets it. Lewis has a problem, Nico gets it. It's pretty easy to predict, and that's the thing this year. And those of you running your fantasy Grand Prix and everything, who am I going to pick to win this race? Well, it's going to be Lewis or Nico. Who am I going to get to pole position? Well, let's just, it's too easy. It's affecting the sport, and clearly there needs to be a big rethink about Formula One, what Formula One is, what its identity is. Those questions, but it's raising a lot of questions in the sport that need to come out in terms of the distribution of the money within the sports and how that's spent and allocated between the teams, and hopefully this will improve things. We're in a point now where pay drivers are taking over the grid, and in years to come there may be just, I don't know, 70% the grid will be paid drivers. Now let's look at history. There's always been paid drivers, but you still needed a bit of quality driving. The quality driving aspect is falling away. The payment is getting more important, and that's a difficult balance. So that's the F1 ramble for today. I'm not going to go into any more with you other than that. But suffice to say, lots of content I'm going to be working on this week. Whole massive backlog from last week. Hopefully I'll get on top of that, and there'll be some more racing action. But that's it from me for now. As ever, more soon.